Many mega projects are happening in Africa despite the hard-hitting impact of a global pandemic. Some of them are government supported and some are private sector funded. This project also includes long-term and short-term plans in transport, healthcare, and urban development. Indeed, the African construction industry is booming. Work is currently underway on some of the biggest construction projects ever completed in Africa as the continent builds key infrastructure to support its fast-growing population. Here are the top 10 mega projects in Africa in 2024. At number 1 is the Grand Inga Dam. The Grand Inga Dam is a proposed hydroelectric dam at Inga Falls on Congo River in the Democratic Republic of Congo. It is by far the biggest construction project in Africa. The dam is designed to have an average output of 39,000 megawatts annually, nearly twice as much as the Three Gorges Dam in China, making it the world's largest hydropower scheme. The Grand Inga Dam, as at the time of conceptualization, was estimated to be at about $100 billion, including the construction cost of transmission lines needed to carry its power across the continent. The project was expected to begin by 2016. However, in July of that same year, the World Bank withdrew its funding following disagreement over the project. Sitting at number 2 is Egypt's new capital city. Construction of housing units in a new yet-to-be-named administrative capital city has been completed, but delivery will be within a year once key infrastructures have been installed. Located 45 kilometers east of Cairo, the smart city has 21 residential districts and 25 commercial districts. The city will have a recreation park double the size of New York City's Central Park, 90 square kilometers of solar energy farms, and several artificial lakes. Other key features include a technology park, a 40,000 hotel rooms, a theme park 4 times the size of Disneyland, 2,000 educational institutions, 1,250 mosques, 663 hospitals and clinics, and a new international airport. Transfer of government ministries, foreign embassies, parliaments, and presidential palaces was expected to take place by the end of 2022 at a cost of $45 billion. The total cost of the venture is yet to be disclosed, but the city is indeed one of the biggest mega projects in Africa. Coming up at number 3 is the Konza Technology City. The government of Kenya has embarked on construction of a $14.5 billion technology city in Machakos County in a bid to attract technology talent investors to drive its economic growth. Konza City, which is located 64 kilometers south of the capital Nairobi, is modeled around the US Silicon Valley, hence the moniker African Silicon Savannah. The smart city targets businesses, process outsourcing, software development, data centers, disaster recovery centers, call centers, light manufacturing industries, and research institutions. The Konza Technology City has so far attracted several wealthy investors, including a leading Korean university, although the slow pace of the project is raising concerns amongst its key stakeholders. Coming up at number 4 is the Dangote Oil Refinery. Africa's richest man, Aliko Dangote, has built a huge oil refinery in Ibeju-Lekki district on the outskirts of Lagos, Nigeria, at an estimated cost of $12 billion and $14 billion. With a processing capacity of 650,000 barrels of crude oil per day. The Dangote Oil Refinery stands out as one of the world's largest oil refineries in operations in 2024. The refinery, which is expected to generate 9,500 direct and 25,000 indirect jobs, actually produces Euro V quality gasoline and diesel, as well as jet fuel and polypropylene. While Dangote, as at the time of construction, took on a $3.3 billion syndicate loan in which Standard Chartered plc arranged, about 60% of the construction of the project was self-funded. Currently, the project is completed and up and running. Coming up at number 5 is the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Railway project. The 1,400 kilometers Lagos-Calabar Coastal Railway project, in which some investors are actually projecting that it will cost $10 billion, is without doubt one of the biggest infrastructure projects in Africa. The project, which was initially contracted to a Chinese company, is being eyed by Amerimetro Inc. based in the US after the Chinese failed to raise the funds. The Lagos-Calabar Coastal Railway project will consist of 1,402 kilometers of railway tracks, 22 railway stations with auxiliary amenities, administrative space and level crossings, installation of safety systems, electrical systems, lighting systems and signaling systems, as well as the laying of tracks and electricity lines are amongst other tasks. The first phase runs from Calabar to Port Harcourt, while the second phase will run between Port Harcourt and Lagos through Onitsha. According to government sources, the proposed route alignment is to go from Lagos to Shagamu, Shagamu to Ijebu-Ode, Ijebu-Ode to Ore, Ore to Benin City, Benin City to Sapele, to Warri, to Yenagoa, and to Port Harcourt. From Port Harcourt, it extends to Aba and then to Uyo, Calabar, and from Calabar to Akamkpa, to Ikom, Obudu Ranch, with a branch line from Benin City to Asaba, Onitsha Bridge, and then Port Harcourt to One Deep Sea Port. Construction of the project is yet to begin as the government is still seeking for investors. Coming up at number 6 is the Bagamoyo Port. The government of Tanzania has embarked on the construction of an $11 billion mega port at the Swahili historical town of Bagamoyo as it races to become a regional economic powerhouse. Majorly funded by China, Bagamoyo Port is expected to handle 20 million containers a year by 2045, making it the largest of such facilities in East Africa. The project is a tri-state venture between Tanzania, China, and Oman. State-owned China Merchant Port is building the port, while an Omanese sovereign wealth fund will establish a 1,700-hectare special economic zone adjacent to the port. The Bagamoyo Port is a $10 billion worth project aimed at decongesting the Dar es Salaam port, which currently handles 17.025 million tons of cargo yearly, with a growing trend. The deep sea port is expected to be able to accommodate vessels larger than those handled by the Dar es Salaam port, which currently has the capacity to receive ships that can carry up to 8,000 TEUs. The Tanzanian government is actively working to improve multimodal transport in order to provide options for clients to use logistics at a lesser cost. Coming up at number 7 is the Kenya Standard Gauge Railway Line. Kenya is building a 969-kilometer standard gauge railway from Mombasa to Malabar at a cost of $9.9 billion, in what is billed as one of the largest infrastructure projects in Africa. The first phase of the project, which spans 472 kilometers from Mombasa to Nairobi, has been completed at a cost of $3.27 billion, while the phase 2A from Nairobi to Naivasha, 120 kilometers, has been completed at a cost of $1.5 billion. On the other hand, the phase 2B of the railway from Naivasha to Kisumu, a 207 kilometers railway, will cost about $3.8 billion, while phase 2C, a 107 kilometers extension from Kisumu to Malabar, will cost about $1.31 billion. The Kenyan Standard Gauge Railway Project is one of the flagship projects of Kenya's National Development Program Vision 2030, which aims to transform Kenya into an industrialized and middle-income country by the end of the decade. This project emerged during a summit of the Eastern African Community in 2004. In 2009, a regional Northern Corridor initiative between Kenya, Uganda, and Rwanda was formed to promote a sustainable freight transport system, which would later expand to other countries in the Great Lakes region. The same year, the China Road and Bridge Corporation approached the government of Kenya to carry out a feasibility study for the project, conditionally free of charge, in exchange for a future construction contract. Upon construction, the project created more than 65,000 local jobs, though most of these were temporary, while local engineers and employees were trained on the use of modern equipment. The Chinese-built standard gauge railway line stands out as a catalyst for the transformation of the country. Coming up at number 8 is the Modderfontein Mega City. The Modderfontein Mega City is a Chinese-funded $8 billion city that is being built in Modderfontein, Johannesburg, South Africa, as a hub for Chinese firms investing in Africa. The 1,600-hectare metropolis, to be known as Modderfontein Mega City, is designed by Shanghai Zendai Group and is the company's first venture estate. Work for the proposed Modderfontein Mega City, whose groundbreaking was held in 2015, is expected to be completed in the next 15 to 20 years. The Modderfontein mega city, which is one of the mega projects in South Africa, will include commercial, industrial and residential components. The project was expected to house approximately 30,000 families and create about 200,000 fixed jobs for the local community. However, after announcing the start of the construction in 2015, with some infrastructure development making headway, the following year, news came from the project fell silent by mid-2016, and by the end of the year, the project was dead. In 2017, the Competition Tribunal of South Africa approved the sale of Zendai to Local Development Group (M&T) for a reported 1.8 billion rand. And according to report at the time, Zendai Development ran into financial troubles with net liabilities amounting to 216 million rands. Some other sources claim that the project was hindered by conflicting visions between the developer and the city of Johannesburg. This was exacerbated by the unexpected low demand for both housing and office space, which meant the original plan for the project was incompatible with the city's real estate market. Zendai's aspiration to produce a high-end, mixed-use development did not fit in with the city of Johannesburg's approach. Rather than a luxurious global hub, the city wanted a more inclusive development, one which reflected the principles outlined in its 2014 Spatial Development Framework. This saw to the total collapse of the Modderfontein mega city project. Coming up at number 9 is the Mambila Hydroelectric Power Project. Nigeria is undertaking construction of a mega power project dam as it seeks to boost its energy production. Dubbed the Mambila Hydroelectric Power Project, the facility, which has been planned for more than 3 decades, is one of the biggest construction projects in Africa. The Mambila Hydroelectric Power Project, which is being undertaken by China's Sino Hydro Corporation at a cost of 5.8 billion, will be connected to 3 dams across the Donga River in Taraba State, Nigeria. The facility will have a total installed capacity of 3,050 megawatts of electricity. When eventually completed, it will be the largest power generating installation in the country and one of the largest hydroelectric power stations in Africa. The Mambila Hydropower Plant project has been planned for over 40 years. It is expected to connect to 4 dams across the Donga River. The first preliminary visibility study for the Mambila Hydropower Plant was reportedly carried out in 1972, but attempts to construct the power station up to now have been unsuccessful. The China Exim Bank has agreed to lend about 85% of the total cost of the project towards the construction, which will be paid directly to the construction consortium. Coming up at number 10 is the Grand Ethiopian Dam. The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, formerly known as the Millennium Dam, is a gravity dam under construction on the Blue Nile River in Ethiopia. Work on the 6,000 megawatt dam began in 2011 and is now 70% complete, way behind the July 2017 completion date. The Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam will be the largest hydroelectric power plant in Africa and the 7th largest in the world once it is completed. It is estimated that the reservoir will take about 15 years to fill with water. The 4.8 billion facility is, however, facing criticism from rights groups who argue that it has displaced nearly 20,000 people. The reservoir of the dam will offer major benefit to Ethiopia, Egypt and Sudan. Egypt has for a long time held the major ownership of the water from the Nile River and preventing Ethiopia from constructing a dam. A tripartite committee was formed in January 2012 to promote understanding and look into the benefit and impact the project will have on the 3 countries. The Ethiopian Renaissance Dam power and water capabilities aim primarily at generating power with an expected capacity of 6,000 megawatts. The main and saddle dams will also create reservoir with an impounding capacity of 74 billion cubic meters. Finally, the dam will be capable of handling a flood of 19,370 cubic meters per second, with reduced alluvium in Sudan by 100 million cubic meters, and also facilitate irrigation of around 500,000 of new agricultural lands. It will also reduce approximately 40 kilometers of flooding in Sudan upon its completion.